What is up YouTube, and welcome to this Game of Thrones video. So if you're new to the channel, please do drop a like, please do subscribe, and this is going to be my Game of Thrones spin-off speculation video. So I did do a video on the speculation before of the sequels and the spin-offs and all of that, but we've had some brand new news about the Game of Thrones spin-offs, and we can probably pretty much guess what the top and the most important spin-off possibly will be for Game of Thrones. So we're going to be getting about 5 spin-offs. We know that Duncan Egg and the Robert's Rebellion kind of thing is not going to be a spin-off. Sadly, I would love to see those. And, well, George R. R. Martin has actually said that the reason we're not getting Duncan Egg is because he's only written a few novellas and he really wants to get ahead of pretty much everything with a story. So he wants to pretty much finish the story. He said this in a blog post, that he doesn't want to actually have this all happen again. He doesn't want to have the fact that the TV show will overtake the books, which has sadly happened with Game of Thrones, and as we've seen, it is pretty much to a detriment of the show. I think that it really has the show has suffered for the fact that it's gone ahead. I think that maybe they could have taken perhaps a year's break on the show. I think that would have done it a lot better than what they did here, where they have gone ahead of everything, which is a bit of a shame. But what's happening here is we're going to be getting all of these prequels. There will be sequels, and he's also said that a lot of them may not actually be even set in Westeros. So that is a hint that we might get to see more of like Essos and all that area, and Karth, all these areas which have briefly been really touched upon. We've seen them in Daenerys chapters and scenes, but we haven't really explored the world of really everything, because Westeros is simply just a continent. So we've not explored the entire world really. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun to see where they actually go with these 5 prequels, and there's going to be a lot of pedigree behind them. I believe Jane Goldman is even working on a prequel as well, or a sequel, or spin-off, whatever she's working on, and she's a very, very talented writer, obviously, with Kingsman as well as, of course, Kick-Ass under her belt. Now, the news broke that George R. R. Martin is working with Brian Cogman. Now, Brian Cogman, if you don't know who he is one of the biggest writers on Game of Thrones. He's not quite Dan and Dave level, obviously, but he is probably the person who has written the most episodes apart from those two themselves. So he is pretty much one of the most knowledgeable on the show, and the most knowledgeable person that you could really pick to write a show. And I think it's a good option, good idea that they're poaching someone from the current crop of Game of Thrones, so they're ready to good and go straight after the last season has aired. They can get this, and it will be about 2019 that we might get this show on the air, in 2019, 2020. And he's in the blog post, he's actually said that a lot of these prequels may not even make it to air, so they're just speculating all this. So it's not going to be the Game of Thrones network, which is what he said, which I thought was pretty funny, albeit I'm sure that they could make a lot of money out of becoming the Game of Thrones network. But they're not going to be oversaturated with these, so a lot of these may not ever actually see the light of day. But the one that George R. R. Martin is working on with Brian Cogman, I think might be the one. At least one of these will be the one that will come out of all of this process. And they're working on a prequel. Now, we've put aside Duncan Egg, we've put aside the Conquest, and that is not the Conquest, but Robert's Rebellion. So that is gone now. They're not really the prequels that we're going to get. Now, obviously, it is a huge, rich tapestry of backstory and everything like that we could actually have. Now, arguably one of the most interesting parts of history is Aegon Targaryen's conquest of Westeros, and this is something which we have wanted to see for quite some time. We might maybe get some flashbacks from the Three-Eyed Raven, maybe, I doubt really. I think the most of those flashbacks will extend to is the rebellion with Rhaegar Targaryen as well. So I don't think much of that is actually going to happen. However, it would be nice to see some sort of Easter egg or something like that. So moving forward, I think that we can look to the companion books that George R. R. Martin has written. Now, in the blog post, George R. R. Martin is gushing over Brian Cogman, which, you know what, is not really overstated. He's stating that he's the keeper of the law, and if Dan and Dave are the Iron Throne or whatever, then he is the Prince of Dragonstone. So, Dragonstone, big thing there, obviously. The seat of the Targaryens until it was taken over and they were usurped. But it was taken over all the same. However, the original inhabitants of this have a rich tapestry. The Targaryens obviously took over Westeros and united the kingdoms, and that was that. And there was actually a companion book that came out, and it was written all about the world of the Game of Thrones. It was a lot of backstory, a hell of a lot of backstory in it. However, there is another book coming out, and the key here is the fact that not only is this going to be a prequel, they mentioned Prince of Dragonstone, but they said that it is an adaptation. An adaptation of what, you may ask? Because all of these books have been written, they're all going to be obviously adapted. What else is there to actually have? Well, we have the history of Westeros, but there is going to be a new book, a brand new book, The Fire and Blood Volume 1, which is all going to be about the conquest of the kingdoms. And we had a prequel, obviously, with the Blu-ray coming out about this, and it just seems apt that they are going to be focused on this, and I think that they are going to be adapting this book. The prequel is going to be all about the Targaryens, and I think that is a great way of doing things. So let me know what you think in the comments. What do you want to see? Do you think that this is what is going to happen with this prequel? However, that is it for this video. I want to hear what you think. Please do drop a like. Please do subscribe. I'll see you soon, and goodbye.